6.73 miles, 9 minutes, 18 seconds per mile, and 128 beats per minute, taking it nice and super easy. My first run back from the Hoka Chicago Half Marathon that I ran last weekend. That run that you just saw was from Tuesday morning, but it is now Friday by the time you're watching this, and I have run on Wednesday and on Thursday as well, and I will be running today on Friday too, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but I kind of wanted to preface it with what my overall kind of plan is for the taper. Now, I've trained for a bunch of different races before, some where I've been coached, but most of them where I've kind of like figured things out, not on my own. I've had a lot of help reading stuff on the internet, getting plans off the internet, getting books from coaches who know what they're doing and have talked about tapering as well. So I've tried a wide variety of different things, and I kind of think this is what works for me. It might not be what works for you. And I am definitely not a coach nor an expert. So like this isn't trying to be like a how-to video or things that you should do. Just want to go over what I'm doing. So for the taper, there are two main things that I want to do. One is stay sharp more mentally, but also a little bit physically, but mostly mentally. And number two is I want to just reload. So first, let's talk about staying sharp. For this marathon training block, I've been doing 3 quality sessions a week. More of a VO2max day on Wednesdays, then Fridays were my threshold days, and then Sundays were my long run days where I put in a bit of a workout within the long run, usually a lot of time at marathon pace. That's going to get reduced down to what I did this week, which is I did the recovery run, which is the footage you just saw. Then the day after that, I did just a very easy run along the lakefront, a little bit longer of a run, but just threw some strides in there, again, to stay sharp, keeping that turnover. And then I didn't do a workout on Wednesday. On Thursday, which would normally be just kind of an easy day, I did a workout which looks a little bit more like kind of like what my Friday sessions would be. So for Thursday, I did 5 times 5 minutes on 1 minute rest at threshold pace, which kind of seems like a lot. I know I'm not going to see any like physiological benefit from that by the time we get to the marathon because it's just too close at this point. But I feel like this is something that really is good for me mentally because I feel like I need to stay close to that feeling of exertion in terms of what it's going to feel like to kind of be working hard during the race. Something that I've been working on all year long is like getting into kind of like race mode in terms of not just like being ready to start the race, but being able to close out the race and finish the race. I feel like a lot of times my mind finds a lot of reasons to kind of like give up or not push so hard, or to just generally be afraid of getting into that kind of like red zone. But not that running 5 times 5 minutes at threshold pace will put you into the red zone, but it reminds the body of what it's like to work. And so that's kind of what I felt like really worked for me. The first 2 reps that I did were tough and into the wind, and I felt like my core was still a little bit tight, so I'm still feeling some residual effects from the half marathon over the weekend. But once we turned around and had the tailwind, then I just felt like I was flying and they were just super easy. So it just felt like I could really just open up and things felt effortless. So it was really nice to be able to run those. And this is exactly what I wanted to get. Instead of my Friday session, since I did one on Thursday, Friday will just be an easy day. Maybe I'll put strides in there, maybe not. Saturday is also going to be real easy, shortened mileage compared to what I've been doing. And then Sunday I'll do like a medium length run, probably 12 miles with a couple of marathon miles and a couple of just kind of up tempo miles, but nothing faster than marathon pace. So keeping it relatively light, but still also reminding myself of marathon pacing, what it feels like to be at threshold, so what it feels like to kind of hurt a little bit, and then some strides to work on that turnover, make sure the body is just used to like being powerful and explosive. So that's kind of the main thing I've been thinking about in terms of keeping sharp. Next week will probably look pretty similar as well. I'll take my regular kind of like Monday rest recovery cross training day, and the rest of the days will be kind of same format as this week, where Thursday I'll probably do another like mini workout. Maybe I'll have like a couple of minutes at threshold pace, and maybe like a couple of minutes at marathon pace, and a couple of repetitions of each, and do that something just really light, just to kind of remind the legs, remind the body and the lungs, like this is all what's going to feel like, and that's going to be normal. Don't freak out. So kind of like that's like the main goal in terms of that staying sharp. and then we'll be heading in to marathon weekend. The goal number 2 for the taper for me is going to be to reload. So reload on kind of like making sure I'm eating right and like, you know, carbing up. I'm not gonna go crazy with the carbing up, but making sure I'm eating and fueling properly. And the other thing that I'll be reloading is reloading the muscles in terms of their just overall kind of just freshness. So in terms of the mileage that I'll be doing, my peak week was actually 3 weeks ago when I ran the Chicago Area Runners Association 20 miler. That week was a 65-mile week, but that's not including, I had a 30-mile bike ride earlier in the week too. So that was kind of not the highest mileage week that I've ever had for a marathon build, but I feel like combined with some of the cycling and all the other work that I've been doing, it was a pretty decent peak week for me. And then from that 65-mile week, I went to 56 miles last week, culminating in the Hoka Chicago Half Marathon. This week will be down to like 45 or so. And so like the mileage is definitely coming down, and there's going to be one less workout per week. And that workout, you know, that I do have left is going to be a lot lighter. So like it'll be getting the muscles a chance to kind of like bounce back and kind of like absorb everything that's happened to them. I'm trying not to say hay is in the barn. The nice thing about this year, I guess the silver lining for this year with the way that this marathon is going to look a little bit different than like a normal marathon would, is that there aren't as many events happening like in the week of the marathon. And so, you know, other years, it's been super fun to go around and meet a lot of people and cover lots of different things and attend lots of other events and participate in things. But now I just don't have as many of those obligations, or obligations isn't the right word. I don't have as many of those other things that I'll be attending. So that also means that I'll be editing a little bit less and kind of like in the last minutes in the late hours in the night right before the marathon. So hopefully that will help me to just get some better sleep and make sure I'm better rested. So that's pretty much it, the general plan. Trying to keep it simple, stay sharp, throw a couple of workouts in there, keep it nice and easy though, don't go too crazy, and do some strides on the mostly easy runs that I'm doing, and then reload everything else. Diet, legs, keeping the mileage down, making sure the easy miles stay super, super easy, even if I'm feeling great, or I guess especially if I'm feeling great, and then reloading on some of the sleep. So that's what I'm up to. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, or if you've got something wildly different that you're doing that's been really working for you. I'd love to hear it. Better yet, stop by the live stream and tell me all about it in the chat. I'd love to talk to you guys about what you're doing for your tapers over there. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?